And ready to go. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make it so that as we start to draw this out and maybe don't have to think quite so much about where our mouse is and try to calculate where we want objects to come out. Here what we're going to do is we're going to try to make it so that the mouse shows, we're not going to try, we're going to make it so that the mouse shows where it is in an X and Y value up in the corner. And we've done this, I think, in other tutorials and earlier classes. What we're going to do is we're going to make a new function for this. And this is, one of those things that you can reuse all the time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down in my code. I'm going to get down all the way towards the bottom. And you can see here I've got the end of the draw function. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a new name. I'm going to say function. And let's make it very clear. We'll make it mouse location, we're going to call it. Now this is not a function that pre-exists. This is one we're making up. We are making the rules now for our universe and the way things interact. So it's very kind of, it gives you a lot of creative power, kind of godlike power to now make a new function which will be then used as a command. So what we want to do is we're going to call it mouse location. And I'm going to go ahead and say end mouse location down here. Now, like I've said in the past, this doesn't need to be here. This is just a comment. It's for all of us to kind of know that this is done. But I find it really useful in JavaScript and in Java and certain languages to make it so that at the end of each of your curly braces, your closing curly braces, that you say what it was closing and ending. And I found it over years and years of doing this that a lot of students find it very, very useful too. So what I want to do here is I'm going to now put in a text command. And in here I'm going to say text, and we'll just do a very quick one to show if it's actually where we think it is. We'll say 20, 20, or 10, or 20. There we go. And if I go ahead and I run this, it shouldn't show up anywhere. Now, the reason why it's not going to show up anywhere is because I made this new function, but I haven't called to it. I need to say, function, tell it to do it. So at the very end of my draw function, and keep this in mind, I'm inside of my draw function. The draw function repeats, it runs all the time. I want it to be at the very end so it's on top of everything else. At the end, when we're ready to present our artwork, we can go ahead and take those off. But right now, while we're constructing it, this is a really useful tool. So I'm going to go ahead and type in mouse location, open close parentheses, and that semicolon. It's acting just like a command like the no-stroke command or many of the other ones that we've already seen. So if we look very closely here, you can see test is showing up there at the top. It's showing up as having green color to it. So maybe you want to give it maybe a 255, which if we do that fill, what color will it be? It'll be white. So because it's just all the light. So if I go ahead and I run that again and take a quick peek, we can now see that it is the test. It's showing up nicely there. I could choose to make it bigger if I wanted to. I can even put a different line around the outside. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use a couple of built-in variables. And we're going to put it all inside of a set of parentheses. So as I build this one up, it should make more sense as I add them together. First off, I want there to be, let me just put in first off the mouse x as my variable that's in there. If I just put mouse x in and I run it, you should then see where the x value of my mouse is. So as I move my mouse to the right, it goes up all the way to the edge. I'm at 600. If I move all the way down, it goes down to 0. There we go. And so if we go up all the way to the top, it will actually go past that value. So it'll go past what the size of the canvas is or your space is. But it's good to know that if you're ever doing other kinds of pieces. But let's quickly add in a way to identify what that value is. There's just a number at the top. May be nice, but let's be a little bit neater about it. Let's say x in quotes, colon, space, like that. If I do that, now what it should do is it's going to first write an x. It's going to write an X because that's in quotes. It's going to give me a colon and a space. And then what it's going to do is it's going to add that other value to it. So that is all going to be one big string there that's going to print out. And that's what we call those values, is that'll be a string of characters and information. When I go and run this now and see it at the top, I see now my X. I hope. There we go. My X value. And I can, if I really want, go ahead and put both in there. Now I could do it as two separate lines. That might be the easy way to do it. I could say, let's just put in a second line here. Call this one Y. Call this one Y. So now it's Y and mouse X and mouse Y. And right now what my problem is the little oops here is that they're on top of each other. I don't want them on top of each other. So I just need to move my values here. The text size is about 10 or 20 by default. Let me move them apart that much and see how it works out. So that's not bad. I could actually maybe even make this down to 20, and I could see both of those values. And this is going to make it much easier for me to kind of be able to show these, figure out where I am and what my mouse location is as I pick points. If I wanted to kind of guess where the sun is, you can see I'm right there in the center. I'm at 200, 100. And if I want to know about where this line is that I have, or this the grass starts, you can see it's at Y200. So it's really a very useful tool, and it's something that we can easily just comment out by putting 2 slash marks there in front of it, run it again, and now nobody needs to know that we're kind of using that little cheat tool. So that mouse one is a great one. I hope that was review for you and you know how to do that one. Next, let's start getting to building some mountains, or moving mountains. So that's good for this one, and check in the next video next. Make a mountain.